It all started with a black plastic spatula. When an article went viral in 2024 for suggesting we may be unwittingly infusing our food with harmful chemicals by using one, I, along with many I know, lobbed ours into the bin, without a backup in place, to the annoyance of my partner. It later transpired that the study the article was based on had miscalculated the dosage by a factor of 10. UK regulations also limit certain hazardous substances in plastics, meaning that risks should be lower in this country. But alas, it was too late for our poor spatula. Nevertheless, studies show that the amount of microplastics found inside human bodies is increasing rapidly, and the plastic in our kitchen is known to be a contributing factor, so I set out to minimize its presence. According to Dr. Stephanie Wright, who leads the microplastics team at Imperial College London's Environmental Research Group, I am not alone in my desire to be rid of the stuff. Plastic is useful, but it was never designed to be in our bodies, as she says. Her belief is that any reduction in exposure is good. We know from lots of other well-studied particles in our environment, like air pollution, that exposure to too much of any particle can be a bad thing, so reducing that burden is always going to be positive. I think the same is true for plastics. Yet it is only once you start trying to reduce plastic use that you realize how ubiquitous it is. Wright's advice is to focus on one of the highest priority areas, the heating of food and drink, because heat accelerates the degradation of plastic, and eating and drinking are effective ways to transport chemicals into our bodies. However, ditching plastics also poses an environmental threat, creating a conundrum for anyone wanting to reduce their plastics exposure. Rather than simply throwing away everything plastic in your kitchen, a good rule of thumb is to wait until it no longer has a use and then gradually replace items with non-plastic alternatives. With all this in mind, here are my top 7 plastic kitchen swaps. Kitchen utensils. Joseph metal utensils, £130 at Joseph, £89.99 at Amazon. These are a good blend of style and function, and I use them for frying. However, they won't work if your pans have a non-stick coating. Wooden spatula, £2 at ProCook. I use silicone spatulas for baking because batters don't stick to them, but I prefer wood for other cooking because it's a natural material. Silicone spatula set, £15 at ProCook. Silicone utensils are broadly accepted as a better option than hard plastic ones because silicone has much higher heat resistance, is derived primarily from quartz rather than crude oil and has higher durability, meaning it's not likely to leach chemicals into food. Chopping boards. Wooden chopping board, £53 at Shinrai Knives. Another place where food often comes into contact with plastic is the chopping board. This is a pretty easy fix. We got this set of bamboo chopping boards. Any form of wood will work. The only downside is no longer being able to whack them in the dishwasher. Bamboo chopping board set, £100 at Joseph, £100 at John Lewis. A set of bamboo chopping boards. Storage containers. Pyrex Zero plastic storage containers, 3, £32.69 at Amazon. I've accumulated a huge amount of plastic Tupperware over the years. I've replaced it with Pyrex cooking dishes with lids, and silicone seals that make them spill-proof, and these tall glass jars, which we use for storing sauces, soups and curries. Ascot glass kettle, from £38.99 at Amazon. A lovely glass kettle from Ascot. The only downside is that the glass is very unforgiving on limescale, a big problem where we live, which means I have to stay on top of the deep cleaning. Tea strainer, £4 at John Lewis. Switching to loose-leaf tea seemed like a lot of effort, but I resolved to do it when I learned that many tea bags contain plastic fibers in the bag or seal, which release microplastics when brewed. Bird and Blend loose-leaf tea, 50g, £6 at Bird and Blend. Truly plastic-free options include Hampstead Organic, considered a pioneer in this area. But switching to loose leaf has been the one change I am borderline evangelical about, because the tea is so much better. Kids' utensils, plates, and cups. Bamboo Baby Elephant Suction Plate, £18.99 at Bamboo Bamboo, £18.99 at Amazon. My children's plates and cups were mostly plastic and often lobbed in the microwave. We already had a couple of lovely bamboo plates from Bamboo Bamboo. They fight over who gets the elephant, but they can't go in the dishwasher. Elk & Friends Stainless Steel Bowls and Lids, 4-pack, £19.99 at Amazon. To counter this, I bought a few stainless steel plates and bowls from Elk & Friends. Eating off a metal plate does have a bit of a scout camp vibe, but the kids adjusted quickly. Munchkin Cool Cat Straw Cup, £18.99 at Munchkin, £18.99 at Amazon. With sippy cups and water bottles, we scaled down massively, and, after a lot of research, landed on Munchkin bottles. We removed the plastic straws, which just means they need to be tipped a bit higher, and also means we don't spend our lives searching for transparent plastic bottle pieces after washing them. Pans. Our Place Titanium Pro Pans, set of two, £260 at Our Place, £275 at Heath. Many non-stick frying pans are coated in PTFE, polytetrafluoroethylene, a plastic, which can flake into food if there's any damage to the surface. We were due an upgrade, so went for these titanium Our Place pans. Instead of a traditional coating, these have a non-stick technology, NoCo, which uses a microtextured titanium surface to stop food from sticking. We were skeptical at first but have been impressed by how effective it is, and are now able to use metal cooking utensils without worry, a bonus.